Hello guys and welcome to Plus Equal. A new day and a new tutorial. Today we'll be detecting collisions with our player against the collectibles. So the first thing we want to do is to disable our game objects when we go there with a player. We need to go to our player controller script and we will activate a method called OnTriggerEnter. There we go, it's the first one. It says OnTriggerEnter is called when the collider order enters the trigger. So we put this, and so if we are playing with our player and another collider called order enters our player, what do we need to do? In this case, with this collectible, we want the collectible to disappear. So we pass through the collectible and they vanish and they increase our count. So I'll put order, that will be a reference to the collider that enters our player, and we will say game object dot, and then we can see here the SetActive, and this means deactivates the game object, and that's exactly what we want. We want to deactivate, and for that we need to put false. It means, is it active? No, it's false. It will disappear from the scene. We can try this out by going into our game. However, because we are using OnTriggerEnter, I will take this example here of this game object on the right. We need to put these objects as isTrigger, so I'll put isTrigger. I'll press play. Remember that this is only on this object on the right. So now I'll pass through and they are disappearing. Okay, now what we need to do is to add a tag to the pickup prefab. So we are going to our prefabs, and I will open up our prefab right here, and we need to put a tag, and this is basically to compare, okay, a collider have entered our game, but what collider is it? Imagine that we have a lot of isTrigger events. We don't want every object to react the same way. In this case, we need a tag to say, okay, this object entered our player, but what object is it? That's what a tag is good for. So we'll be adding a tag here. Let's press the plus sign to add a new tag, and let's say plus equal collectible. Let's save this. Let's go to our main object again, and instead of untagged, let's put our new tag, plus equal collectible. Let's save this and go back. Now they all should have this tag here. Okay, amazing. Now we need to go to our script again, and we need an if statement. So let's say that if, and let's already open this and put this inside. So if something happens, let's deactivate our game object. As we said, we want to compare the tag, so we'll ask the software if order game object, and we put dot, and we will have a compare tag method. So compare tag, and you can see that we can fill this with a string that will be the tag. So compare tag, let's open parentheses again, and because this is a string, you need to put this information like this and put exactly the same words that you have in your tags. So you might want to go into Unity and check your tag again. So plus equal collectible, okay, plus equal collectible. So let's get back to Unity. There is still some stuff that we need to do, and that's because we are using an empty game object with more objects inside. We need to do some stuff here in the prefab. We need to make the prefab a single game object with a collider. So I will add here a box collider. I will put it as isTrigger. Let me now resize my collider here. Okay, looks about right. Resize here as well, more or less here, and more or less here. Okay, it looks good. Now we need to go on the other components, and let's take the box collider of them. Let's remove, let's save this and go back. So now that our main object have the collider as trigger, they all should disappear as one. Let's press play and see if this is working. Let's catch this one. Oh, disappeared, disappeared, disappeared. Okay, it's working pretty well. And that is thanks to the collider here as trigger and the tag here plus equal collectible. So it collides as trigger event. It checks the tag. If the tag is this, the object disappears. It's that simple. Oh, one final step before we go. You can open our prefab again, and we can put a rigid body to it. So let's put a rigid body here and disable the use of the gravity. So it will stay in the same position, it will not be affected by gravity. But this is important because Unity needs to calculate physics. And if you don't have a rigid body, Unity will think, okay, this object is static. And it's not the case. The object is rotating. We want to calculate the physics the most accurate as possible, and for that the rigid body might help. And that's the final tweak for this tutorial. I will save here the prefab. I'll go back. I'll save my scene as well. And I will finish this tutorial here. In the next tutorial we will be displaying a text for the count of collectibles. And finally we will create a build and test our game. So thank you a lot for watching this video. I hope you guys learned something new. And I hope to see you in our next tutorial. Thank you a lot for watching. I'll see you there. Stay safe.